79 degrees at Phoenix International Raceway. Race 9 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Our telecast today presented by Quicken Loans, who announced today, by the way, they'll be the sponsor of this race next year. Field of cars getting signaled to start rolling off the pit lane onto the Phoenix International Raceway. Let's go down to pit road now. Here's Vince Welch.
Alan, when Jimmy Johnson won the pole, he also earned the opportunity to have this very first pit box, which is going to provide an advantage as he has no traffic as he exits pit road today. Also, he has an advantage because they have plenty of time, Chad Knaus and Jimmy Spotter, to keep an eye on the 20 of Matt Kenseth, who's pitting all the way down near turn 4. Those are two significant opportunities that could play major advantages today for the 48. Jerry Punch?
Well, Vince, when the chase began, Matt Kenseth crew chief Jason Ratcliffe took a snapshot of the 10 tracks in the chase and said, okay, we're pretty good on the mile-and-a-half tracks. We know we got them covered there. By the way, next week's a mile-and-a-half. What I'm worried most about are the high downforce flat tracks like New Hampshire, Martinsville, and Phoenix. Well, folks, they went up and they won New Hampshire. They led the most laps and finished second at Martinsville, basically outpointing the 48 car at both those tracks. Could it happen again today? Well, stay tuned. Alan?
Okay, Doc, and as the field of cars begin the first of their 3 pace laps, we check in with our ESPN in-race reporter, Carl Edwards, who, since they remodeled and reconfigured this Phoenix track before this race a couple of years ago, has had a pretty good run here. A second and a first, that first coming back on March 3rd of this year. Carl lined up in 23rd starting spot.
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN booth. You have a copy?
Gotcha, Dale.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking with us today. Before we get into your race here today, wanted to see if we might get mindset, since you've been involved in these championship battles before here at Phoenix, what Jimmy and Matt may be thinking and going through as they battle this difficult Phoenix track and trying to position themselves for a championship run next week.
First thing, I can tell you they're having fun. I mean, this is what we do it for, to be in this position. You know how it is. I mean, it's all on the line. You get to test yourself, your car, your crew. So you can be sure that they're having a good time. And they just, you know, they're going to come out of this race, and they're going to know what they have to do next week. So it's going to be as good as it gets. I mean, this is what we do it for, a chance to win everything.
Hey, Carl, we had a lot of questions in our mailbag to choose from. One we chose from Tracy in Tumwater, Washington. She asked, you've been especially good at short, flat tracks this year. To what do you attribute this success?
It's all about the race cars and my crew chief. I mean, the guys have been building great race cars. Jimmy Phoenix does a great job on these short tracks. And, you know, I didn't realize we'd won more short track races than anyone else, but it's about my guys. And we're good today, too. We can get fast in all the victory lane if we have good pit stops and I make good decisions.
All right, Carl, I think they'd probably tell us that it's a lot about the driver, too. You do a great job behind the wheel. Thanks for talking with us. We'll look forward to talking with you later on.
All right, great. See you guys after the race.
And 1 to go. Signal at the starter's stand as we get ready to go at Phoenix. Our high-definition onboard views today, riding with Danica Patrick, who has our GoDaddy camera. Clint Boyer's got the 5-hour energy on board. Kyle Busch with the Toyota camera. And Matt Kenseth with the Fresh from Florida on board.
Right here, crazy. Obviously, get rolling here. Give me safely the bottom.
Okay, 10-4.
Brian Newman has our Quicken Loans camera. And Jimmy Johnson is carrying the Sprint on board.
All right, fellas, focus on our details. Make sure we're doing what it is that we need to do. 300 laps, it's a short race. Be smart. Not a lot of time to adjust how the race car. Be on your toes.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has our Chevy on board. And you heard from Carl Edwards, who has our Ford EcoBoost on board. 500 kilometers the distance, as it has been since the Sprint Cup Series started racing here in 1988. 312 laps around the 1-mile track, and of course the second to last race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Jimmy Johnson on pole position. Matt Kenseth starting back in 14th. Huge crowd, sold out grandstand, ready for the green flag at Phoenix.
That is not where Jimmy Johnson wanted to be on the first lap, in the middle.
Oh, tag there. Joey Logano nips the back bumper of Johnson.
So he's not
not getting much of a break to start this race from those other guys.
Now, he almost created a little bit of it himself in trying to make sure that he was going to get the preferred line into turn one. Got up really, really close to Denny Hamlin. That got his car extremely loose.
So things got interesting for the championship leader right in the very first quarter of the race. And then by the time they get down to turn 3, that could have been ugly.
Yeah, looked like Logano got down the apron just a little bit, got a little bit loose. We'll see that happen a number of times today.
Just 2 wide.
Yeah, that could have been really bad.
3 wide top. Easy.
Actually got away.
3 wide top still. 2 wide now.
Yeah, Kyle Busch doing a nice job there, too, of checking up, giving Jimmy room, and not creating a bad situation for Kyle Busch, who has a really good car here today, too, to try to win this race.
Kevin Harvick, 29, won this race a year ago inside of Joey Logano and grabs the 4th spot. And there's Jimmy Johnson, started on pole, but got shuffled back to 6th place.
You know, as a driver, you're so intent. You're wanting to lead that first lap. A bonus point means a lot. You're on the pole. You have a fast race car. Jimmy wanted to make sure that he wasn't just driving straight into that corner. A lot of times then you have to be late getting back to the gas. He was trying to get a good arc, and that got him loose, getting close to Denny Hamlin's car.
Yeah, it looked like Denny just wasn't having any of it either. He said, hey, this is my line. You know, I'm going to stay right here. If you want to try to make that arc, you're going to be right against my door.
Yeah, and he did nothing wrong whatsoever. That's the opportunity that you have starting on the outside. And he knew that he couldn't be out there too far. He was going to be in trouble himself.
Saw Matt Kenseth get a spot from Clint Boyer. Kenseth up to 11th.
So, dear, we talk about these drivers battling for the championship here, and others, they're going to get a huge amount of respect from the others. On the other side of that, too, this is an event that drivers have different agendas. Denny Hamlin hasn't won a race this year. Somebody like Kurt Busch, who's fast, he hasn't won a race this year. They want to do whatever they have to do, and you're at their mercy. This is different than the football, baseball playoffs.
Kurt, big mover in all that jockeying and shuffling around in the opening laps, got himself up to 3rd.
Yeah, he started 8th, so, I mean, this is a really good start for him. Like Dale said, these guys they don't have anything to lose. They're going to go for it. And Jimmy, they know Jimmy has the most to lose, so he's going to back off.
We've seen this fall a few drivers break long winless streaks, and in fact here at Phoenix we've seen a lot of dry spells ended in the desert, pun intended. Last 4 races here, drivers broken a long winless streak, and could happen again today. How about Denny Hamlin, perhaps? Out in front after the early shuffling that saw Jimmy Johnson go from pole position back to 6th place. Though he's lucky he doesn't have a torn up right rear fender to his race car after getting bumped in turn 3 in early traffic. Wow. Great fight for the lead at Phoenix. 3rd lap, side by side. Jeff Gordon trying to get around Denny Hamlin.
Well, he ran him down quick. It looked like he was going to make an easy pass, but Denny's found something up there in that, 2nd lane, I'll call it. It's up a little bit high right there.
Hey, the drivers would love if they're going to be able to run up there and not lose spots. They can put themselves in position. As you run more laps down the bottom, you're heating up your tires, and that's only going to make the situation a little worse for you. Denny Hamlin doing a great job on the outside. Sometimes you're forced into finding another lane that might actually work for you. Great battle.
So Jeff Gordon thought he had Denny Hamlin cleared, but Denny came back on the outside and actually kept Jeff from leading a lap at the start-finish line. And Denny Hamlin's still the only leader we've had in this race so far.
And their side-by-side racing there has allowed Kurt Busch to close up in 3rd a little bit. Kevin Harvick along with him.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon had actually cleared Denny Hamlin in turns 3 and 4. And then Denny drove back up on the outside of Jeff before they got to the start-finish line.
sometimes you're a little bit concerned. You might think that that groove is up there, but you don't really want to go up there. Then you're forced up there and you find something that actually works. So now it's going to be much harder for Jeff to actually complete this pass unless his car is just better in a longer run.
Denny's hanging on despite the pressure being applied by Jeff Gordon. Jamie?
And Denny is surprising Jeff Gordon. Jeff telling his spotter, Eddie DeHaan, man, you got to keep me informed of that. He said, I didn't expect Denny to fight back the way he did. And the 24 goes to the lead. And DJ, you mentioned it. Is his car better on the long run? Well, I talked to his crew chief this morning, and he said, that's right. That's what they were working on. In practice, they were better on the short run, but this is what they adjusted for.
Yeah, I like that idea. Did notice yesterday they're making some changes throughout the day in their practice sessions, and a longer run car is going to be much better. Yeah, we typically have green-white checkers here, but I like my chances with a car with tires that are older and gets the job done.
Last 7 races here at Phoenix, and every race on this current configuration, first yellow has come in the opening 22 laps. Haven't seen one yet. Greg Biffle had to start at the back of the field today. They changed the transmission on this 16 car. Look at what he's done already.
He's going the right way for sure.
Yes, sir.
You don't usually think of a transmission change being that good for your handling of your car. That's not it. But
worked this time.
It did happen. Yes.
Maybe he hadn't put it in high gear yet.
So Jeff Gordon starting to catch some lap traffic as Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick close in on Denny Hamlin for second. Good look back through the top 10 or 15 or so there. Thinking about Kevin Harvick winning this race a year ago. A race scheduled for 312 laps. Harvick didn't even lead the race until lap 305. It ran a few extras, but he wound up taking home the checkered flag. That's the closer.
Yeah, that's the typical Kevin Harvick right there. Just shows up when the pay window opens.
All that other stuff just posturing anyway, you know, unless you try to get bonus points or something like that. Kevin really, really solid here. He enjoys the challenge of this racetrack, and it is a challenge because the two ends of this racetrack are so totally different. Puts a lot on the driver, and whenever you get to a track that does that, you think of Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, he ran the nationwide race yesterday. It was actually disappointing. I thought he was going to be one of those guys that could challenge Kyle Busch for the win, but and he did early. He was pretty decent early, but at the end of the race kind of fell off. I'm sure he learned something from that yesterday. Maybe he can use today.
And if his car's going to continue to do what I'm seeing it do right now, you see those left side tires down under that yellow line. This is typical Kevin Harvick. Great drive off, rolls through the center, carrying a lot of speed. He may just turn out to be the man to beat.
That looked good right there. Just like you said, he was able to hook that bottom and then stand in the throttle and not get sideways.
So Harvick to second, Jimmy Johnson by
Nice, man. Half back.
Joey Logano for fifth.
You have to credit Jimmy here. A lot of drivers would have kind of freaked out right when those things happening. He got himself righted, got things going in the right direction, was really patient here. Didn't try to press the issue to get himself back up there and lead right off. I think he knows he has a fast enough car that will eventually come to him today. They avoided disaster there.
Whoa, that was avoiding disaster too. Kurt Busch 78 with a big slide and barely avoided Denny Hamlin, whose car now up the racetrack and looking like it's giving up a lot of grip, Dave.
Thought maybe as this run went along, the car would come to him, but so far a car that started very loose for Hamlin has stayed that way. About 10 laps ago, he radioed still really, really loose. So he's just been hanging on. They'll look for an adjustment on this first pit stop.
Speaking of loose, see Kurt Busch working hard to try to get around him. You get in the throttle like that, you got the wheels turned a little bit more, kick the back end out. Jimmy Johnson takes advantage, takes that spot away.
Well, he pounced right on that. He was waiting for that one little mistake, and he took full advantage of it.
And like we talked about Harvick's car, hooking those left sides below the yellow line down there in 3 and 4. Just saw that from Jimmy, too.
What these drivers will do, they're searching around for grip anywhere. Now Jimmy's going to take that third spot away from Denny Hamlin.
So the lap 1 slip that kicked Jimmie Johnson from first to sixth. He's beginning to dig back out of now. He's up to third behind Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. Gordon out in front after Denny Hamlin led the opening 18 laps. Jimmie Johnson, the five-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion, originally from Southern California, starting on pole in this second-to-last race of this season. Had his troubles, though, on the opening lap that kicked him back to sixth place. Now he's worked his way back up to third, while his rival for the championship, Matt Kenseth, runs in ninth position. It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Phoenix. Our telecast today presented by Quicken Loans. The second-to-last race of the year. A nearly heads-up fight for the top spot in the championship. Last year, this race played a big role in determining who'd be the champ. We'll see how today it plays out over 500 kilometers. Vince Welch is covering Johnson for us today. Vince?
Well, on Allen, when Jimmy was involved in that first lap contact, he never said a word, just kept his composure and went right back to work. In fact, the only thing he's talked about at all is just that the car is a little bit too tight, but Chad Knaus encouraging him, telling him, save your brakes, save your tires. You're among the fastest cars on the track. Allen?
That's probably what a lot of those drivers are going to hear all day long.
Yeah, definitely Jimmy's going to hear it because he kind of overworked those brakes here last year and ended up failing the right front tire because of it. So I'm sure that Chad's going to be in his ear about that, especially when the car's tight, just to make sure that he doesn't overwork it.
So last thing you want to see on a track like this, especially this early in the race, is when a couple of guys start bouncing off each other in front of you. Watch Matt Kenseth's view here.
Hey, you know it's going to happen. You don't expect it to be your teammates, though.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Playing through.
That's kind of nice when you can get them two at a time, though.
Okay, you boys play. I'm going forward. Matt Kenseth running in ninth position. Kyle Busch is 11th. Denny Hamlin, who led the opening 18 laps of this one, has slipped all the way back to 14th place. Dr. Jerry Punch covering Matt Kenseth today. Doc?
Yeah, Matt gained a couple of spots with that bobble by his teammates. All weekend, Matt's been really good rolling in the middle, but been really free coming up off, but not nearly as free as he is right now. Matt said the car is so loose it's hard to drive. They said, just be patient, we'll get there. Matt has used the word patient time and again. Crew Chief Jason Ratcliffe on the right side of your screen uses the term methodical. He said, we've got to be methodical today. 2 and 3 spots at a time. Stay out of trouble. The upper groove is slippery. Don't get caught up in anything. We'll get them 2 or 3 at a time. And right now, they've gained 5 spots since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, I talked with Matt this morning. He felt like after their practice session yesterday, they weren't exactly where they need to be, a 5th to 10th place car at that time. He has so much confidence in his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, though. He said he always goes back on Saturday night, has me something a little bit better for race day. He said, and I'm sure he'll have that for me today, and Matt's moving forward.
4th place here.
Another guy moving forward, Joey Logano. Another car that looked really good in practice.
And just behind Kurt Busch now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. running in 6th place. Number 88. Besides, in Ryan McGee's essay, making it easier for people to tattoo their arms for Junior fans. 88 on the lips of a lot of people this morning also.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, a lot of people talked about this car was really good in the long runs, and that's kind of what we've seen here recently from Junior. He's had a really good chase, aside from that engine failure that they had at Chicago to start things off.
Yeah.
They've been really solid. I spoke with Junior a little bit on Friday. He was looking forward to the challenge. He really wants to get to victory lane before this is over, but he's also just really excited about the way this team has come together.
Yeah, and I saw just his comments after last week's second place finish that you could tell he just wasn't satisfied with that, and he's hungry for a win.
Did you see the picture on the left there when he went over that shortcut, cutting the dog leg there, how the bang when that car came off that banking? Mentioned how well Junior's run in this 8 races so far in the chase. He's kept right with Jimmie Johnson and Matt Kenseth in terms of most points in the last 7.
And he also entered basically the last stop in March as the leader. and was going to take the lead off pit road and maybe be able to beat Carl Edwards, but he got blocked in by Casey Mears.
Yeah, here at Phoenix.
Yeah, right here. That's what I'm saying. He's good here.
Yep. So Junior up to 5th place after starting back in 11th in this long green flag stretch to open this one. It's the Advocare 500, Phoenix International Raceway. Reminder, check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy for enhanced coverage today from Phoenix. 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard included. Junior putting a lap on hometown driver Danica Patrick, Scottsdale, Arizona, one of the places Danica calls home. Going forward and going backwards.
Yeah.
That's what I'll call this picture.
Yeah. Greg Biffle doing a great job. But Denny Hamlin, we heard him talk about his car being loose. The speeds they're running around this racetrack now, and I know a lot of drivers and teams were concerned with the tire situation, that their cars might be a little on the tight side. A lot of them were trying to make sure that they turn, but you can't go around here very fast with a loose race car. Always found that if you can have that car just a little bit on the snug side and take care of that right front with that, you're much better off.
Yeah, but one thing that just this picture shows me, I mean, it's just what a difficult season it's been for Denny Hamlin. I mean, he's qualified second, thought it was going to be a really good race, and now he's dropped all the way back through the field. I mean, when is this car and driver going to get back on track?
So Denny Hamlin struggling today here at Phoenix after leading the opening 18 laps of this one. Jeff Gordon, the only other driver besides Denny who's led. Gordon now pacing 29 circuits here at Phoenix. Caution out at Phoenix for a Denny Hamlin spin off turn 2. Show you in a minute. First, the pace car bringing the field to pit road. 32 cars on the lead lap. Watch for a lot of strategy. Watch for some contact on pit road. Going to see a lot of different things here.
32 cars on the lead lap.
Doc, you're up.
Matt Kenseth coming in 9th position, said the car is very loose off of 2 and loose off of 4. They've been talking about 2 tires. Oh, you're almost to a fuel window. Going to make a chassis adjustment, right side tires. Getting completely full of Sunoco fuel. He's down and away. Jamie.
Jeff Gordon's already led 32 laps. Say he's a little tight between 3 and 4. Track bar up, right side tires only. Vince?
The 29 of Kevin Harvick's going to take 2 tires. He says it's a little free on exit. As far as the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, right sides only, and a track bar adjustment, a little too tight.
And look at that shuffle on that tight pit lane. I think they all got away with it. It was in question for a moment. Denny Hamlin, we talked about him struggling with the handling of his car. He finally didn't get away with it. And that's the reason for the yellow.
Already fighting a loose car. Like Justin Allgaier got real close to the back bumper, just enough to take some more downforce off of that 11 that he didn't need to lose.
And watch how hairy things get here for Matt Kenseth. Get ready to restart here at Phoenix International Raceway. The first caution coming out after Denny Hamlin spun. Almost everybody got right side tires only. Clint Boyer in 10th place, the first with 4 tires. He's going to restart in 20th place. So when the race started initially, Jimmy Johnson was on pole position and had a little difficulty on that first lap and wound up back in 6th. That was in turn 1. Then when he went down to turn 3, that 22 car became a factor in his left rear quarter panel.
What happened on that start there, Jimmy? I don't know. I went straight into the corner. I couldn't get the car to turn. I guess I was on low pressures or something. All right. Well, let's shake it off, man. We got to get some restart action here.
Jimmy inside of row 2 for this restart.
Hopefully it turns this time.
Kevin Harvick gets the lead from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, from that outside, I think that there's a lot of drivers that are pleasantly surprised. Well, Kurt Busch, like he might have got into the wall just a little bit on the exit two there. They're going to be surprised and pleasantly surprised that they've got that outside groove to work with, especially on the restarts.
Right, Keselowski 3 wide on the outside going into 3 and kept his foot in it. Wow. That little break there. Paul Menard, 27, was advised, I'm sure, by his spotter that it was coming and put all 4 tires down below the yellow line on the apron to give Casey Kane and Keselowski some room to race. Second place here.
Yeah, right now I'm seeing 2 cars, the 29 and the 48, that look like their cars really roll the center of the corner and have good drive off at this point in time of the race. I'm sure some others will get theirs adjusted for that. Gordon was great on that first run also.
So Jimmy Johnson up to second. Matt Kenseth losing a spot to Juan Pablo Montoya and getting kicked back to 11th place.
I know Matt gained a few spots in that early part of the race, but his car just doesn't look like up to par to what we've seen, like the 29, the 48. Like they're maybe a tenth or 2 off. And when you change just 2 tires, it's really hard to get a good adjustment in.
Yeah, you can see how hard Matt, in watching, is having to work his car, trying to make it do what the 48 and the 29 are doing, and the drivers aren't having to make it do that. And when you're having to make that, then you're kind of upsetting the tires a little bit, and you can't get the speed out of the car that you need.
He's getting some pressure now from Kyle Busch, and Juan Pablo Montoya is actually driven away from him just a little bit. Doc, what's this 20 car struggling with right now?
Well, you and DJ, you guys were talking about a minute ago. They did one round down on the track bar on the right side. He was very free coming up off of 2 and off of 4. He could only part throttle it coming up off of 2 and off 4. On this racetrack, he said he's rolling well in the middle, but getting under somebody and being able to use the throttle up off is how you pass. If you can't do that, you get past. So the 2 right side tires and the track bar helped a little bit, but not nearly enough. Still pretty free.
It looks like it's getting a little bit better as he puts a few laps on the tires. They will at least pull away from Kyle Busch. Now Kyle loses a spot to Truex.
I think Kyle kind of lost that spot because he was trying not to upset Matt, who is his teammate. So he tried to see if he might go by that high side and make his car and make the pass there, but wasn't able to do it.
So Kyle back in 13th place and challenged there by Carl Edwards.
Looking at the lap times too, it looks like these right side tires are bringing the cars right back to speed.
Unscheduled stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. from 6th place. Jamie.
Dale Jr. loose wheel. They took right sides only on that last stop. Obviously something was loose. They've got to replace the tires. Tough break for Jr. Car has been pretty decent today so far, Alan.
Yeah, it's a big mistake, and we talk about how mistakes here are very hard to overcome.
So going to lose a lap there and spend a lot of the day trying to dig back out from that one, since we already have about 6 cars that are 1 lap down.
Yeah, he'll get back on the track up in and probably in that position of being the first car a lap down, but he'll need a quick caution.
Carl Edwards had to kind of call off the run on Kyle Busch there when Junior was coming up off the pit lane and onto that bottom lane of that dog leg of the back stretch. So Dale Jr. shuffled back to 35th place by that mistake on pit road. Kevin Harvick got the lead from Jeff Gordon after the restart. He's pulled away by a second here at Phoenix International Raceway. And a beautiful look at Phoenix International Raceway and the race leader Kevin Harvick from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything we learn making tires that face the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
that drag race in a second. How about John Force? Ageless wonder there.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He's impressive and fun.
Yes.
Another Californian, Kevin Harvick, impressive here today at Phoenix International Raceway. Kevin from Bakersfield, California, out there on Wednesday of this week having a charity fundraiser golf tournament that he does and annually supports causes in his hometown. And Kevin has that much of a lead and shrinking on another Californian, Jimmy Johnson from El Cajon down near San Diego.
And here's another guy, kind of from California too.
Yep.
Jeff Gordon.
Originally from Vallejo, California, up near Sonoma.
I guess to get out here close to home, that gets him fired up.
And another guy out close to home.
Yeah, Kurt Busch from Las Vegas, Nevada. Not far from California.
Yep, not far from here. Yep. Both Kurt and Kyle always talk about how much they love coming to race here and at Vegas and the level of support that they get here. Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, closest fight for a spot at the moment. This is 11th and 12th positions. Matt gave one up to Martin Truex a couple of laps ago, not long after giving one up to Juan Pablo Montoya, and there he gives one up to Carl Edwards. So this segment of the race not working out as Matt would quite have hoped.
Doesn't do anything better, does everything a little bit worse. Way tighter and slow in the middle, really slow in the middle, and the bite's really not any better. And the entry's no better either, just made the middle tighter.
Hey, comment on that last adjustment. It sounds like that definitely went the wrong direction.
Yeah, sometimes you're trying to get that drive off. He complained about loose on the exit of the corners in that first run. So down with that track bar, that might help your drive off, but it hurts the middle so much that you really haven't gained anything, and you put your right front tire in a vulnerable position by making the car tighter in the center.
Still good information. The next stop they make, they can go the other way and hopefully get him better.
So Matt slipping back to 12th position. We were giving you a good look up through the front of the field. Left off with 4th place Kurt Busch. There is Joey Logano running in 5th behind him. Not from California.
Far from it.
Or west of the Mississippi for that matter. Joey, a Connecticut native. How did we get on this geography thing anyway? That's probably my fault.
Yeah, I think it started.
And then from Enumclaw, Washington, Casey Kane.
I can't believe you didn't let Andy say.
I was trying, but he wasn't taking the bait.
Back to the West Coast, though.
Pretty solid drive at a track that's been very good for Casey Kane over the years. Here's Michigan's Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about Brad's car in practice being really good.
Yep.
Expect to see him up front and battling for the win before this is over.
Brad running in 7th place. Eric Almirola, Marcos Ambrose, teammates for Richard Petty Motorsports.
Yeah, I was just talking to Sam Johns. He said that both these cars are pretty good in practice. And they notice how these two race each other on the racetrack. He said the King told him, if you guys would race everybody like you race each other, we'd have the full cover. There they are doing it again.
Yeah, looks like you got them pretty equal for sure.
Yeah.
And just behind them, 31, Jeff Burton. 1,000th start in NASCAR National Series racing. And Jeff, eloquent as always in meeting reporters here the other day to talk about it. Talked about the great privilege and great success and career that he's had, knowing that the days are fewer than greater that he's going to be behind the wheel of one of these machines. In fact, for next season, at best, on a limited basis for Jeff.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with him this week, and yeah, he's you know, he looks at this as an opportunity these last couple of races to maybe pick up a win. They have a good car here, but he's been had such a great career, and he's such a good guy to be around. I know you've raced with him a lot, Dale, and he's a really clean, hard racer.
Yeah, and you can say he's a winner, but I think the biggest thing you can say about Jeff Burton, besides being a really good person, is he's always thinking about what can make this sport better, whether it's from the competition side, whether it's his race team, what's best for the fans. He always had that in the back of his mind, or maybe at the front of his mind, in every decision that he made. He's been great for the sport.
The mayor of the motorhome lot, Jeff Burton. And running today in his 1,000th NASCAR National Series start. Kevin Harvick up front, looking for another win. Kevin getting the lead away from Jeff Gordon after the restart from the only caution flag we've had in the race so far.
Welcome back to the Phoenix International Raceway. Let's catch you up on what's happened so far with our 5-hour energy rapid recap. And on the initial start, Rusty, things got dicey from championship leader.
Well, they really did. Jimmy Johnson had a bad restart, kind of got up on the racetrack. The cars got underneath them. And you see right here, Joey Logano gets in or gets loose, taps Jimmy in the left rear quarter panel. Man, he avoided disaster right there.
Things haven't been much easier for Matt Kenseth either. He had a close call with his teammate.
It's unbelievable. Kyle Busch is really struggling. Comes up off the corner, gets into his teammate Denny Hamlin, turns him sideways just a little bit, and there comes Matt. The seas open up, and he splits him going down the straightaway.
And the close calls didn't stop there for Kenseth. Tight quarters on pit road, Rick.
Yeah, we said pit road was going to be a factor. Very close for Matt right there. Had he damaged the fender, he would have had to come back in, start at the very back.
Welcome into our Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio, and obviously it's already been an eventful day for the championship contenders, but still lots of racing to go. Who looks strong to you guys so far?
Mike, right now I'm looking at Jeff Gordon. I thought that last week when he blew the tire at Texas and ruined his chances for the championship, that he might lay down a little bit, kind of give up. But man, he's not slowing down at all. I've been watching his lap times. That car is bullet fast out there. He's looking really good. He looks like he's in championship form to me.
Yeah.
Hasn't lost anything yet.
Yeah, the gap for me is pretty obvious. Kevin Harvick's led 39 out of 93 laps thus far and has just done an outstanding job. Usually Kevin waits to the latter part of the race and comes on strong. He's got such a good car right now. He's out front. He's dominating this thing.
Oh, he does have a good car, but like I said in the beginning of the show, when we opened up there, I feel the Penske cars will be a factor. Joey Logano hanging right there in 5th place, running good, consistent lap times. It's early. His teammate right behind him now, Brett Keselowski, in the 2. Those guys have got plenty of time to adjust. The clouds are coming. I think those cars are going to be a factor before the day's out.
And we should also point out that Jimmy Johnson has recovered from that initial start. He's back up to 2nd. Still more than 200 laps remaining. A long way to go, Alan Bestwick.
Hi, Michael. Thanks. Kevin having a very smooth race so far. In fact, we were just up here marveling how the only guy that's staying with him is Jimmy Johnson. Other than that, it's 5.5 seconds from the leader to 3rd place, Jeff Gordon. Just in this run since that restart.
Yeah, Harvick's car looks like it's just on a rail. Yeah, it looks like almost like a slot car right there. I love to watch him. When his car is good here, he just uses all of that bottom part of the racetrack, carries so much speed. Vince, they've got this car dialed in for Kevin right now.
It certainly looks like it, DJ. He's led 40-plus laps. Kevin says it's a little bit loose, though. They had the same issue in the first run, but they just went with right-side tires during that stop. They're going to take a little bigger swing at it this next time. Says it's just a little too free for his liking, although it certainly looks good, that's for sure. Hey, also want to point out, they've done a lot this weekend recognizing the military members that are here at the racetrack, and on top of the 29 box today is Marine Joey Long. There's a shot of him there on the right-hand side of your screen. He was injured in Iraq 2005, paralyzed from the chest down, getting the NASCAR experience up close and personal this weekend. Just one of many teams and organizations doing a lot for our military here this weekend in Phoenix.
Absolutely. And thrilled to meet so many of them and have them all here.
Yeah, that's great to have them here and give them a chance to see what goes on here up close. All they've done to allow us to be here today. I bet there's a lot of people hoping Kevin Harvick tries to work on this car and it goes wrong.
Yeah. I'll tell you watch what it did right there, how he's going below that yellow line off turn 4 every single lap. He's just putting those tires in the same spot. The car is almost flawless.
Jimmy reeling Kevin Harvick in.
Still snug. Let's slip in the rears off every once in a while. 4 on that. Take care of yourself.
Well, that's the 2nd place driver, Jimmy Johnson. Matt Kenseth. Remember, we saw him slipping back a little bit in this early in this run. Trouble. Caution is out. Second caution of the race. So erasing that huge lead Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson had over third place Jeff Gordon. And the field gathered up behind the pace car. Pit road open here. Another strategy session.
That's been about the same amount of laps we saw the last run. We'll see just how much they are willing to push these left side tires.
Doc?
Matt Kenseth talking about, to quote him, everything worse. The track bar that didn't help the exit. The tight got middle. The exit didn't help at all. It was still loose, and now just couldn't go anywhere. Right side tires, big time chassis adjustment. Right rear, left side tires going on the 20 cars. Jamie.
Alan Gustafson said he'd mix up his strategy. 4-tire call here for Jeff Gordon. Who's loose? Vince?
The 29 of Kevin Harvick a little too loose as well. 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment. Sunoco fuel. The 48 also with 4 tires, trying to free him up just a bit.
You can see a lot of 4-tire changes in that round, and a couple guys looks like they got 2 also. Jason Kane, Keselowski, Paul Menard gained some track position.
So I'm going to shuffle the standings up a little bit. Second caution out for this from Joe Nemechek. Second caution of the race, about to conclude 1 lap from now as the field gets ready to double up for the restart. A lot of strategy on this yellow flag, with a number of drivers taking just right side tires, while the guys who were leading the race at the caution all getting 4 and giving up some track position in the process.
I think Jimmy Johnson's crew doing a really good job with that 12.5-second stop.
Now, Jimmy, the first one off the pit lane with 4 tires. So lining up there in the 5th position. Everybody ahead of him, and a lot of the guys around him just getting the right side tires. The 4 ahead of him there, Keselowski and Kane and Edwards and Menard, just right sides only, as well as Boyer, Biffle, Edwards, and McMurray. Kevin Harvick among the 4 tire changers, losing a couple of spots. Remember, he was the leader coming down the pit lane.
We'll see now just how good these left side tires are that are new for this race that Goodyear brought here.
Kane choosing the outside lane as the leader for the restart.
Seeing on these restarts, if you're going to take that outside lane and you can hold your position into turn 3, you've got a good shot at being the leader whenever you get back to the line, something we'll have to watch for later on in this race.
Going on outside the top 10. McMurray losing a spot to Montoya. McMurray, remember, just changing the right side tires on that last stop. Jamie started back in 36th place and is up in 14th at the moment.
You see right there, Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick both got by Jimmy Johnson on that restart.
And got by on the first lap of racing for the restart.
Matt Kenseth used that opportunity to get 4 tires and maybe make an adjustment, see if his car's better this run.
Not in that corner.
Now, they're going to have to make it better at some point in time, or this could be a disappointing day. Back through there, you can see that cream paint scheme of Greg Biffle's car. He has taken that car from the back of the field up to the top 10 here. Nice run he's made.
Trying to muscle his way by Clinton Boyer. Looks like he's going to get that pass made.
That was 9th place. Remember we mentioned earlier, in case you weren't with us, Biffle's team had to change a transmission. So that by rules sent them to the back of the line. They raced their way up into the top 20 just under green flag conditions. Then used strategy on this caution to take 2 tires and just move up a few more spots into the top 10.
Really solid day. You have a car like that is fun at this racetrack because it's a fun place to try to pass cars if you have a car good enough to do that, the challenge that it presents. I'm sure Greg's having a great time. He likes to slide his car around a lot anyway. He's doing a good job of it so far today, Jamie.
He is when he's out on the track, but that last pit stop was a little bit of an issue for him. When the sun was completely out, he couldn't see his box, and he actually stopped one box before his. He had to start it up and get back into his, so lost some serious time there. But overall, he said the car has been pretty good, and the team is getting it done when he's in the right box.
That does help.
Yeah, he gained some spots that last time. He was 18th, and he moved up to 11th. That 2-tire stop. He took the opportunity. It's kind of like we talked about earlier, this leapfrog strategy. We're going to have some guys that are going to get 2 and 4, and they're going to be on alternate strategies. And right now you can see what Biffle's doing. He's taking those 2 tires now and moved his way into the top 10.
Jimmy Johnson trying to follow Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick up through and around Paul Menard.
See, tires are just not worth a lot. I mean, Menard only got 2 tires. Jimmy's got 4, and we know how good Jimmy's car is, but you can just see just how hard it is for him to get by.
Here comes the bump.
Yeah, one thing I am seeing that seems Jimmy's car is better on that 2-tire side of this. You know, when he was as good as Harvick, it seemed, on that last run when they both had just gotten 2 tires the time before.
Well, and you know, the other thing, I think it was Andy mentioned earlier about how changing conditions on this track and so on, but cloud cover for late morning. Sun came out just before the race started. Now it's overcast again, and a lot of this track is in shade. Trouble. Timmy Hill.
Fired up you can. Fired up you can. Leader's coming. Can you get it rolling? Don't come down. Try to go up high.
Well, tough day for the youngster from Maryland. Back end of that one used up pretty well.
He was running 3 laps down, but right here he is. He's sideways underneath another car. Able to stay off that other car.
That was Josh Wise.
Some pretty heavy rear damage.
So caution out, pit road open. Going to have a split decision here. Looks like Clint Boyer in 14th place is going to be the first one to come in. Doc?
Down on the right rear jack pole.
Matt Kenseth said the car is absolutely a 6 or 7. Tyson, I can't even keep up with the pack. It is that bad. He said in the middle of the corner, the front is coming up. He said it's chattering the tires. It will not turn. It is very, very tight. The most panicked I've heard Matt in a long time on the radio. Very frustrated. Jason Ratcliffe said, we're going to go ahead. We got a caution. We'll pit now. We'll put 4 on it. We'll go back on the chassis adjustment. They had gone back on the right rear track bar before, and it made the car so much worse. And Dale Jarrett, that's got to be frustrating for Matt, knowing the car will not turn at all in the corner, and people were driving by on both sides.
Yeah, it's just hard to overcome that as a driver. It looked like they put a spring rubber in and took some wedge out, too. Going to really free this thing up, and this strategy could turn to their favor later on.
Yeah, run a few more laps, bring some of the other guys in. He can stay out or get 2. Might get this track position back.
There you go. So caution out here at Phoenix. Our telecast today presented by Quicken Loans. Monument Hill, overlooking turns 3 and 4 of Phoenix International Raceway. Our telecast presented by Quicken Loans as we get set for the restart. Casey Kane, the leader. Matt Kenseth back in 28th place. Jimmy Johnson is in 6th. Kenseth just off the pit lane. Johnson stayed on the track under this yellow. Keselowski around Casey Kane to grab the lead.
Brad Keselowski anticipated that restart really well, and then he's using the bottom of the racetrack. I have to question whether that outside lane is the lane of choice on these restarts. Casey Kane's going to reevaluate it too.
Yeah, and I think it's going to go from driver to driver, exactly where your car and what you're comfortable with. How comfortable are you in attacking from that outside? You know, are you willing to put your car right on the edge like it's going to take to keep that spot?
Jimmy Johnson trying to move up from 6th place.
Yeah, Jimmy had a good restart there. He was able to clear Jeff Gordon, get himself down the inside. Hasn't been able to make this pass on Kurt Busch right yet, though.
I don't think there's anybody on the racetrack that Kurt Busch races harder than he does Jimmy Johnson. Seen them have some great battles before.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
That's right.
So Matt Kenseth choosing to pit under this yellow flag when there was the split strategy decision. Clint Boyer in 15th place was the first one in 14th place rather. Matt restarted in 28th. And now, Andy, let's talk about the opportunity that might create. Yes, they had to work on an ill-handling race car, but we touched on strategy and what this might allow them to do.
Yeah, but it's risky. When you have to go back in this pack like this, it comes with risk. But they had to do something. You heard Doc saying how the tone of voice in Matt Kenseth is almost panic. They've got to find a way to fix this car, so they had to do it. And if they get a caution, an opportunity to stay out, or maybe just get 2 when the other guys are forced to get 4, then he can get a lot of this back. But right now, it's a tense part of the race for this team.
Yeah, it really is. You know, we talk about patience, and Matt's wanting to be that. Hard to be that back here. You're frustrated. Your race car's not as good as you were hoping it was going to be. You know that you can't mess around in this traffic very long for a couple of reasons. The leader could be coming, or you find yourself getting involved in something.
New 2nd place runner, Kevin Harvick, just got by Casey Kane. Car that has looked the best of everyone today is that red and white 29.
Man, it really does look so good. Just love to watch him use that racetrack, use the apron and get around here. Makes a lot of speed. There's a lot of patience showed right there by Jimmy Johnson too. You have to credit him with that. He didn't force the issue, get himself in trouble there. Waited till he got a better run on Kurt and was able to make that pass, take the spot away, back in the top 5 now.
Don't forget NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy has enhanced race coverage from Phoenix today. 10 HD live race views, live chat, and live leaderboard available there. At the caution flag, Denny Hamlin had just passed Dale Earnhardt Jr. And so Denny got the free pass to get back on the lead lap. Jr. still a lap down in 30th place after the unscheduled pit stop at lap 63 for the loose wheel just after a caution flag pit stop. 3 cautions today. A Denny Hamlin spin after he started up front, led the opening 18 laps of the race, then slipped back in traffic with an ill-handling car. Joe Nemechek up and out of the groove at lap 100, and then Timmy Hill in his crash at lap 116. Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon have done a lot of the leading today. And just lately, that split schedule on pit road that has set a portion of the field on an alternate pit strategy. Included in that group, Matt Kenseth, who finds himself back in 22nd place at the moment. Turn 2, caution.
Might be oil.
Dave Blaney's around, and Travis Kvapil's car might be the cause.
Yeah, a lot of smoke coming out of the back of that 93. Probably some oil out on the racetrack causing that car to spin.
There's that break for Junior that he was looking for to get back in this race.
Okay, just stop, Travis.
So fourth yellow flag here. NASCAR trying to get Travis Kvapil to stop so they don't have to clean up all the pit lane and all the rest if he is indeed trailing liquid behind that car, though he has coasted all the way back around.
Right here's the 93. Pretty heavy traffic. You can see it looks like the motor let go. Blaney gets in it. Doesn't hit anything, but goes around.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was anything out there. Blaney actually got out of the groove up into the loose stuff there, but certainly.
I guess he could have been scared into it when he saw that smoke.
Greg Biffle from 14th place is the first one to pit. All the other front runners stay out. Stay tuned for NASCAR nonstop coverage during the second half of today's race, presented by Coca-Cola. Right now, we're under caution number 4. Little Final 4 preview, just to tip it off. So as we work this fourth caution of the race and double up for the restart, Matt Kenseth finds himself back in 15th place.
Looked like he was going to pit road, but decided not to.
They're splitting in the middle. What do you want me to do? Stay. One outside. On pit road there. I came back out on pit road. I think everybody pit behind us in our lap, I think. Maybe not.
That was the right call. I think staying out from Matt was the right one. I think he expected more of the guys in front of him to come down pit road.
Greg Biffle first out, is behind him a couple of cars. Biffle in 18th place. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. got the free pass at the caution flag. Jr.'s back on the lead lap in 30th place. Kevin Harvick outside of race leader Brad Keselowski as we're doubled up for the restart. Kind of an interesting part of the race here for Kenseth, isn't it?
Yeah, things going the wrong way for him for sure right now. Just can't seem to get this car going on the restarts at all.
And as Matt was talking about in that onboard radio we heard, being one of the guys toward the back of the pack with other guys on fresher tires behind you is not a position he wanted to be in, nor is that one.
No, you almost wonder if Clint Boyer was trying to give him some room and lost quite a few spots for himself. You have to wonder if Kenseth and them could have come in there and then put themselves definitely on a different strategy later on. I'm pretty sure that, Andy, like you were talking about, they expected more of the front runners to be pitting that time.
Yeah, but this car is still not anywhere near where they need it. You can see he's really struggled to handle it.
Wow.
And for no other reason than that, they needed to make a pit stop right there. I thought it was the right strategy to stay out because it did gain him some spots. We saw some guys coming in front of him, but not enough of them for him to get up there and get clean air. Really struggling now.
He's given all those up already in these first few laps of racing.
You can see just the trouble he's having with this car. Like it's gotten to the point now, you can't even turn the steering wheel. They did free it up. I think they made adjustments to do that and maybe have gone a little bit too far for them.
Little 3 wide there behind him. Danica, Eric Almirola, and Justin Allgaier in the 51. Sorted that all out.
Yeah, Junior looking for a place to go, too. He's back on the lead lap. He has a good car. Just had that loose wheel, had to come down pit road.
So Dale Jr. there trying to work his way through some of the traffic. And Eric Almirola is a race for position for Dale Jr. Kind of surprised that Keselowski was able to clear Harvick on that restart as cleanly as he was and get away.
Yeah, Harvick's got a really good car, but it's good on the bottom. I think by him being forced up to the outside, I think it was a good choice for Keselowski to choose the inside on that restart.
Yeah, and this two-car, people have talked about his car being really, really good.
Trouble, turn 4.
Oh, big trouble.
Cole Witt in the 30. Heavily damaged car.
Stay calm, let's come on down. Right rear, clear away first.
Danica, David Ruderman.
I think we might see Junior make a nice move to avoid all of this.
Like maybe Eric Almirola in the 43 got into the back of Ruderman. Turned him around. And boy, it gets narrow right here.
Wow, you're right about Junior.
All right, it's in front of you there. Come on, high, come quick though. Stand up. Come on, clear. Stay to the top, outside 88, outside 88. You did good there. How much damage you got in the back, guys?
We can see just how hard Justin Allgaier got hit from behind. Cole Witt, we got a lot of damage on that 30.
Yeah, Danica thought she had done a nice job of avoiding that by kind of getting slowed down. I think happening behind her, though, got her involved a little more with a lot of damage on the right rear.
So, 5th caution of this race, and the numbers starting to add up where the yellow flags are concerned. A break or not a break for Matt Kenseth.
I'm sorry, but it's so bad I can't even explain it. We're just gonna have to keep hitting off sequence and hope to get to the front that way. Should have pitted there. This would have been our opportunity, I think, but I don't even know what to tell you to fix, to be honest with you. I am so aerotight, I can't even make a corner. I mean, I can't even explain how aerotight it is.
Well, going to get another chance to think about it under this caution. Most of the leaders, not all, are in. Vince?
The two-car Brad Keselowski said he just needs a little bit more of stability back in than he had earlier in the race. Chassis adjustment, 2 tires. Also left sides for the 48, a chassis adjustment for him as well. A little bit too snug for Jimmy.
Well, the whole running order going to get shuffled up again by another split decision. The old leapfrog pit strategy in full view today. 5th caution out at Phoenix. Got a lot of cleanup to do here at Phoenix after the wreck in turn 4 that put us under caution for the 5th time in this race, and we're still shy of halfway. Our telecast today presented by Quicken Loans. Jeff Gordon leading a cast of characters who stayed out on the track and did not pit under this yellow. That includes Matt Kenseth.
All right, I wasn't sure what you want me to do. I guess I don't know how many are out here exactly.
I think we did the right thing, man.
I don't think I can fix what clean air can fix right now. I don't think I got anything on pit road that'll fix that.
Yeah, that air situation's a tough one.
Pretty fascinating when your crew chief's telling you, I got nothing on pit road that can fix what you're lacking.
Yeah, that's not very encouraging as a driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to try, though, because they're just not able to make anything happen. And they didn't get clean air in this decision either. They're going to restart the 10th.
Yeah.
So as we close in on halfway, a look at the drivers running in the top 10. In what's been a very interesting shuffle the deck day at Phoenix so far. Working on cleaning up the racetrack so we can go back at it. Still just shy of halfway. Today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race with our telecast presented by Quicken Loans. Just joining us, big stories on the day. Leapfrog pit strategy that has continually shuffled up some of the running order, another round of which just concluded. And this fight for the championship where Matt Kenseth has struggled for a lot of the day, while Jimmy Johnson, despite a little struggle in the opening lap, has been running among the leaders for most of the day. Just heard Matt Kenseth's crew chief tell him he didn't have anything in the toolbox on pit road that could give him what he needed. Our championship crew chief, Ray Evernham, out of the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio, no doubt is noodling on that one. You got anything in your pit box, Ray?
Oh, I don't know. You know, these guys have more tools, and NASCAR's limited them on some tools, but he keeps saying it's aero tight, aero tight, aero tight. So I'm thinking I've got to do something to get the front end of that car on the racetrack a little bit lower. They've got adjustable shocks. They're already at the back. They have been at the back of the pack. Lift up the hood, get some rebound in those front shocks, hold the thing down. But I will tell you, the last thing I'm going to do with my drivers, tell them that I don't have anything in my toolbox. I'm going to keep coaching along. They've got halfway. They can get that car in position and get them rolling. Andy, what would you do?
Well, Ray, I would be working on it for sure. I'd have that car. I probably would have pitted right there because it was the worst run I think they've made all day long. And I would try something, regardless of what it is, to try to get this car better, because that run and that set of tires was not working. I don't think this is a good move staying out here. He didn't get clean air, like I said, by doing it. So I don't think they fixed anything.
All hands on deck. The gentleman in the blue shirt, center of that picture, is Jimmy Maycar, who runs the competition department for Joe Gibbs Racing. Jimmy, a longtime crew chief in this sport, and putting all the brain power together to try and sort the situation out.
Yeah, they've got to figure out somehow, some way to make this car a top 10 car before the end of this day, or at least still a position inside the top 10.
Now, flip side of the story, Jimmy Johnson, his rival for the title, who, by the way, at this moment finds himself behind Matt on the racetrack in 16th by the leapfrog pit strategy, just changing left side tires on that pit stop.
Yeah, I got to question this, because they have the last time they pitted and put right sides on was about 45, 50 laps ago. And now they've changed lefts. They're going to have to run. If they get a long green, they're going to have a lot of laps on that right front tire. And that's the one thing that took them out of the championship last year, right here at Phoenix. I would be trying to guard against that at all costs. So, to me, I would question that, because I don't know if I would want to run that right front with that many laps on it.
Did a really good job, Jimmy. Really good job, man. We're saving me some fuel, right? Yep. Of course. We can make it on one more stop. All these guys ahead of us cannot. For the 2 of the 29th.
So that's the nutshell on the fuel situation for the 48 team.
Yeah, it kind of tells you where their window is, because that'd be about 80 laps in each one of these runs that they can run on fuel.
2 and 29, just ahead of Jimmy on the racetrack. Keselowski and Harvick first off the pit lane on this caution flag. Still cleaning up from this crash in turn 4 that claimed about 4 cars in it. And the work continues. Look at that on the racetrack. Just what they needed in the desert, a little more dirt, right? Time to go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Coca-Cola. Down to it.
Yeah, I tell you what, yesterday, Austin Dillon and Sam Hornish were impressive in what they did to keep themselves in that battle. Should be fun next Saturday.
So Jeff Gordon is now the race leader by his team choosing not to pit under this yellow, Jamie.
And the last time he led the field to green, he regretted not restarting on the outside, so he will do that this time. The last time he pitted was lap 101. The car is exactly where they needed to be. So are the tires they took for that time around. Look for Jeff Gordon to pit around lap 195. Alan?
Jamie got 5 different pit stop schedules going right now within the lead lap cars. And there are 31 of them on the lead lap.
A lot of people up front here, other than Gordon, that haven't been up there. most of the day.
Jamie McMurray to Gordon's left. Well, Jamie McMurray got by Jeff Gordon off turn 4, but off turn 2, it's Gordon back to the front.
I was going to say, Jamie said he regretted not taking the outside the last time, and if he took that this time, you can't start in the middle, so I wasn't sure. But he made this work. Wide.
Keep expecting something to happen in those things down into turn 3, and everybody keeps sorting it out.
These guys are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 88 car, he can be a factor. He's got himself back in a position here. Things work out strategy-wise for him. Looks like he's got speed. Carl Edwards, all 4 tires below the yellow line.
And Kevin Harvick.
Oh, not where Jimmy wants to be.
Uh-oh. Contact. Edwards.
Hang on to that, baby. Hang on. Inside. Keep rolling inside.
Caution, there's a crash behind him. Up against the wall, turn 2. I believe that is J.J. Yaley. Yes, it is. And the yellow flag comes out. And we check the tally as the scoring resets with the field crossing the start-finish line. And Jimmy Johnson has gone all the way back to 26th place.
He's lucky he still has a race car. I'll tell you that.
All right,
really
until I got
tagged.
Yeah, and that's twice today already.
Gotta get some tires on you. That's it.
I think you just finished saying, DJ, about that was not where Jimmy wanted to be.
No, you know, he had a nice run off turn 4. And I think that he thought maybe Carl might get out of it as they got down in here 3 wide. I'm sure Jimmy didn't know Harvick was going to the inside. Carl doing everything he can to stay off of Jimmy, and then Jimmy going all he can do to save his. Fantastic driving by those drivers.
Pit road open here, Doc.
Calling for 4 tires and getting it completely full of Sunoco fuel here. A little bit of confusion there. First he said right side, then he said left side only. No, he said, no, give me 4. So they're going to go ahead and put 4 on the 20 car, coming to the left side. A little lengthy stop on the right side. Vince.
Back him up.
The 48 of Jimmy Johnson is coming. As you see, they're continuing to have trouble with that 20 car with Matt Kenseth. Let's go back to Doc. Now the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. It's a 4-tire change. Jimmy says he's still a little bit snug, but they're not sure if that's because of the traffic or if that's still the car being that tight as they fought all day.
Absolute disastrous pit stop for Matt Kenseth. Sounded like it was started with miscommunication, and then it went downhill from there.
I was really surprised to see them come in. I thought they'd gotten some track position. They'd moved up a couple of spots on the restart. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, the picker didn't know what to do. They were just stopped for a second, trying to figure out whether there's any rights, lefts. And then they get the hose under the right front tire. They have to back up and get that off. And what didn't go wrong on this stop?
He didn't get caught for speeding on pit road.
Well, there is that
at that time.
25-second four-tire pit stop is absolutely a disaster.
Yeah. 7th place to 29th place for Matt Kenseth.
All right, but pit road speed there.
Yeah, I saw it. I tried telling you 4-2, but you were talking and they was just standing out in front of the car. We're both yelling 4. So I was holding 4 fingers out the window because nobody was coming behind us.
I know, that's my bad.
Pressure of a championship situation?
Absolutely is. That's what that is. That's nerves. Talk about how much pressure there is, and especially this one, because you can definitely put yourself out of position to win a championship in this race.
Well, I guess the good news is for Kenseth, while he's back to 29th, Jimmy Johnson is only 4 spots ahead of him in 25th after that really close call that he had a minute ago down there in turn 1. That for the second time in this race, he avoided disaster.
Hang on to that, baby. Hang on. Inside. Keep rolling inside.
There's a driver just try to keep yourself out of these positions, but there's nothing you can do when you get hit in the left rear. Drive your tail off and hang on.
He did that.
Watch your inside. It's covered. Inside.
Well, you know, even for Carl Edwards, he has to think, oh, no, I can't believe this is happening.
So, Jimmy 25th, Matt 29th. Ryan Newman takes over the race lead. Again, not pitting. Under this caution, shuffle the deck again. Save there, Justin Allgaier. I'm just about to say, now this is when it's really tense, when both of these guys are trapped back in the middle of the snarl.
Yeah, look at all of this happening.
Brad Keselowski in 9th place. The leader of the lap 147 pit stop schedule group. Ryan Newman, the leader of the lap 132 pit stop schedule group, and the race leader. First one off the pit road this last time was Jeff Gordon, the leader of the lap 164 group, and he's back in 18th place.
Kevin Harvick's car is rock solid. It doesn't matter whether it's in traffic or clean air. He's able to do whatever he needs to with that thing.
Yeah, he's just looking for a lap where he's not 3 wide at some points. All he's looking, he's finally got that as he's cleared these cars.
Of course, now Jimmy Johnson fans might tell you he was one making it 3 wide there a little bit ago.
Well, that's very true.
Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, 19th and 20th. Mark Martin right there with them in the 14.
I'll have to say again, it's easy to stand up here, and I wasn't a crew chief and never claimed to be, but seeing that Matt Kenseth had finally been able to go forward, he moved from 10th to 7th before we had that last caution. I really thought that they were in a good spot to stay out a little while and have that track position and apply some pressure there. Yeah, they'd be on a different strategy, but I thought that was a great opportunity. I was shocked when I saw this car come down pit road.
You know, I'm just thinking, I'm merging that with what we heard from Chad Knaus earlier, talking about getting in that window to just make the finish on one more stop.
Yeah, you have that, and also, I'm telling you, that 20 car has just been so bad that they really did need to get another set of tires on. That set wasn't working. The adjustment they just made wasn't working. And I know it was an opportunity for him to stay out on the racetrack and get that track position, but if you get that and still have a car that you can't drive, I'm not sure you can do much with it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm saying is for the first time I saw him pass 3 cars. He went from 10th to 7th. Now, granted, that's not a great thing, and they didn't run that many laps, but it was a positive that they haven't had all day long.
Jimmy Johnson by Stenhouse for 20th place.
Yeah, he talked about Harvick in his car and being able to make those passes. This is the only other car that I've really been able to see, this 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, make those passes. Okay, that car rotates, he gets a good drive off and able to move forward. Traffic doesn't seem to affect his car as much.
But again, still worried about protecting that right front tire after changing lefts only.
Yeah, but they
did change again.
They did just get forward. Sorry. That's a good thing for this team. That's the silver lining in that whole exchange.
Yeah, very true.
So Ryan Newman out in front of this one. Is he on the winning strategy? How are things going to shuffle? Joey Logano hanging it out, trying to chase Newman down for the race lead. The race for the lead here at Phoenix in the Advocare 500. Ryan Newman leading Joey Logano just past the race's midway point. What an eventful day for the championship leaders starting the race. Jimmy Johnson, this was the 3rd turn on the 1st lap.
Yeah, it looked like it might not go any further for him than that without having a messed up car. Jimmy makes a nice save there. Some others around and helping him out.
And just a little bit ago.
That one could have been bad too, but Jimmy really drives that car up next to the wall, stays out of it.
So Jimmy running back right now in 17th place after 2 beautiful saves in what could have been disastrous conditions. Matt Kenseth, on the other hand, I just describe his race as all around lousy, punctuated by that last pit stop.
Yeah, disastrous is a good explanation of this pit stop too.
I'd like to put a positive spin on it somehow, and I guess the one thing we can say is they're still going.
Checking with his crew.
Yeah, I got to hand it to Jason Radcliffe. I don't know if I could be smiling in this situation.
Thomas could be. Look at the danger zone brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Since they redid the track to this configuration 4 races ago, every race here has had 7 or 8 cautions, and most of them have been bunched in the latter half of the race. Well, we've just crossed halfway, and we've already had 5 caution flags here in these last 84 laps. Just saying. The action might not be done yet. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon for 16th place. And again, just to wind you back through one more layer of the strange and I'll admit somewhat difficult to lay out story of this race. We got 3 different pit stop schedules going by all the cars on the lead lap here, and trying to project forward what's going to be the right one depends on how the cautions fly.
Yeah, that's what's going to really matter. If it goes green, it looks like some guys that pitted, I guess it was left. The 132 guys probably can't make it.
We'll say with Jimmy Johnson and his team getting 4 tires that last time puts them in a prime spot, whether it's a green flag pit stop or a caution at that time. Just going to have to get right side tires probably in his next and probably one and only stop that he's going to make. Puts him in a spot to make up some positions and get himself closer to the front before this is over.
Yeah, when I talk about those guys not being able to make it, I mean on one more stop, because some of these guys will have to make more than one.
So Jimmy getting a couple there and has now moved up to 15th place. Matt Kenseth running in 24th. Ryan Newman in the Quicken Loans car out in front. In the lead, Joey Logano trying to stay right with him. We look down from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything we learn making tires that face the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Fourth place here, Dale Earnhardt Jr., not with us earlier, had to come down pit road under the green not long after a caution flag stop. Loose wheel dropped Jr. from 6th place to 35th and a lap down. Took him a while, from lap 63 to lap 131 to position himself to get the free pass, but he got it done, got back on the lead lap, And now, through strategy and a pretty fast race car, is working his way forward.
Yeah, if we could talk to him right now, he'd tell you that he's having fun after he got over being mad with the loose wheel.
Do you agree with that assessment, Jamie?
Yes, he was very unhappy back there in traffic. And on lap 134, he was actually running really hot oil temperatures. And when they got the break, they came down pit road, put 4 tires on it, and took some tape off the grill. Well, that really helped his car. And all of a sudden, he's a happier junior. We have caution on the track now.
Yeah, trouble in turn 1 and a big crash for David Ruderman.
Wow. That's it.
I heard a loud bang and saw Junior back off. I didn't know if something happened to him. This happened in front of him. That car is really shortened up. I don't know if I've seen one shortened up quite that far.
If he blew a tire entering the corner,
his teammate blew an engine
Got down in the corner, the pedal went to the floor and snapped around. So I don't know what happened there. Did it all at once.
Good to see David dropping that window net. That car was damaged in the big wreck we had in turn 4 earlier at lap 144.
Yeah, you might put the window net down, but it takes you a minute or so to get everything back about you, get you breathing back. That's a hard lift. Even with the safer barriers and how safe we've made the inside of these cars.
Look at that thing. That is just flattened at the back glass.
See a small fire under the back of that thing. They need to get put out because the fuel cell's probably leaking a little bit.
He heard you.
Yeah,
got a
look
fire.
at it. It's
Now we got a problem. Yeah.
Yep. Now, while that's going on, pit road's open for the leaders. Again, another split schedule. Ryan Newman, the leader, Jamie.
Well, he had 30 laps before empty, so they couldn't gamble at this point. Right sides, he wants a tear-off and a water bottle. Meanwhile, the 88 of Dale Jr., we were talking about him. Car is much better. Happier driver behind the wheel. Right sides for him as well.
Working on that 29 of Kevin Harvick on the right side of the tire, on the right side of the car now. Just 2 tires, right side tires, and Sunoco fuel for the 29.
So Dale Jr. and Ryan Newman, the first 2 off the pit lane, and we'll see where they line up for the restart as they continue to clean up from this big wreck down in turn 1 with David Ruderman.
You can see right here is Ruderman. He's already completely sideways, headed to the wall quick. Whew, man. I don't know what that feels like, Dale, but it looks like it would hurt.
Yes, a huge jolt as a driver when you hit something that hard, that square with that. But with the safer barrier, it takes a lot of that impact away from you from inside. The Hans device and everything that they have with these new seats makes it a lot better inside, but still a huge jolt to your body.
David out of the car and off for the mandatory checkup at the Infield Medical Center. It's going to be a minute to clean up. So we'll reset the running order off this latest round of Pit Stop Strategy Shuffle after we go NASCAR Nonstop, powered by Coca-Cola. So working the 7th caution of the race and a big cleanup down in turn number 1 gives us a minute for the first time in a long time to check in with our ESPN in-race reporter Carl Edwards, running 4th with Jimmy Johnson right behind him after the little tangle that they had when Kevin Harvick made it 3 wide going into turn 1 earlier. Both Jimmy and Carl get knocked up out of the groove. And going back to 26th and 27th positions from 15th and 16th. Try and talk to Carl.
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, you have a minute to talk? Hey, Carl, we were just showing a replay again. Had a kind of a close call down there with Jimmy Johnson a few minutes ago.
Yeah, anybody that says it's all his car and it's not his driving, didn't see what I saw. He did a good job saving that. Kevin just got inside me, and I had a feeling Jimmy was going to let us go on the bottom, and he didn't. We all got stuffed in there. I got loose. But definitely a crazy moment. So not the part you want to play in the championship battle, but looks like everything worked out. We got a good fast and all forward here, and looks like all of us will have a shot at the win still.
Hey, I have to first say you did a nice job of saving your car there, too. My question to you is, up here shaking my head, all the strategies, as a driver, you're up front, then you're at the back, the patience you have to show in managing this race.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've got good guys up on the box with Nick and Randy and Jimmy and all those guys, you know, deciding the statistics of what's happening. And then we threw that in the mix and had to come in and get tires. So, I don't know. It's anybody's guess how this thing will turn out, but track position's huge.
All right, thanks. Good luck, man.
Let's check downstairs with Dave.
David Ritterman's been released from the Infield Care Center. David, your condition and what happened out there?
I'm fine. It's just we got turned around earlier and it kind of messed the nose up. And for whatever reason, coming down the front straightaway there, down the back straight, the pedal got a little soft, and I told the guys the pedal's a little bit soft, and we got off into one, and it didn't have any brakes at all. And I pumped it a couple of times, and it was just all rear brakes at that point, and it snapped around and hit the fence. I hate it for Horizon and all the guys we had on the car this weekend. It looked like we were going to have a pretty decent weekend, and just disappointment. Tore up a pretty good race car.
Glad you're okay, David. AB?
Dave, thanks. Good to see David out of the Infield Care Center. We were going racing, but they've spotted a piece of debris on the track. Going to send a cleanup truck out to get it and waved off the restart. We'll hold them off for another lap before we double them up and go racing.
That makes sense now why Ritterman hit so hard. That's the fast part of the racetrack, and that's where you really count on those brakes. And if you don't have any front brakes, it just locks those rears up, and boy, you go for a ride.
So, Andy, a little strategy check in here. Joey Logano, the race leader in that 22, last pitted over 60 laps ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this one out. I don't quite understand his strategy. David, what do you know about this strategy of the 22?
And it's the one more stop strategy. Lefts on lap 117, rights on lap 132. They can get to about 223, and Joey was told that will put him in a window.
Okay, if they're inside their pit window, then it does make sense. I thought maybe they were outside of it.
So trying to get there and hoping the cautions fall right for Todd Gordon and Joey Logano. Jimmy Johnson, along with Carl Edwards and Casey Kane, on another pit stop schedule, and Jimmy running in 5th.
Did a really good job, buddy. Did a really good job. 99 wanted to say sorry about that. He kind of got shoved up a pitch and got into you, so he apologized.
As Carl told us a minute ago, Kevin Harvick there made it 3 wide. We saw, and things got a little tight. 113 to go.
Jimmy's probably thinking right now, if Carl was really sorry, he'd let him go with that spot.
4 wide there. Still 3 wide. Look at this.
Acting like this is Talladega.
3 wide.
Casey Kane by Brad Keselowski for 2nd. And the hold your breath moment on that first lap after the restart sorts itself out. Wow, that was something.
Just shows you how important this track position is, getting yourself positioned there, getting as much as you can on that first lap of the restart.
Paul Menard, Matt Kenseth. That's for 11th and 12th. And for 3rd place,
See, Matt Kenseth on the right side of it. This is a tough time for him. The cars behind him have some fresher tires and things. Try to manage it and not lose too many positions, but you don't want to get yourself in trouble either. Even though
out of the groove.
Spots like that.
Hold your line here.
Managed to save it. That's going to be 16th down to 17th, maybe 18th. And still dancing on eggshells there.
You can see that car just not doing anything that Matt Kenseth wanted. He can't get it into the corner. It doesn't roll the center very well, and just fighting it on the exit.
Yeah, and you sit here and say, how does that happen? Here's a guy at a team that ran so well on all the flatter, faster tracks that we saw earlier. We saw the numbers with his run at New Hampshire, and what a great drive he had there. Now they come here to Phoenix, and man, Doc, he's just hanging on.
And those of us who have known Matt for a long time, and DJ, you rode with him, you know how much of an optimist he is inside the car. He actually has said the car is turning a bit better, but it is so loose on entry and really, really loose on throttle. He can't even use the throttle. He tries to turn it. The car just goes up the racetrack, but he saved it a moment ago, so he certainly has his hands full, and right now going backwards.
Yeah, Matt's a great competitor and really very mild-mannered most of the time. But he really has his hands full right now, and you can see he's just not able to turn the car right there. And then on the exit, now he's...
Sorry, buddy, it's just undrivable. Just really loose in and off, really slow in the middle.
I think they just have a
got any dirty air at all. It's a 9 or 10 tight in the middle of the corner, and it's 3 or 4 loose in and off right now. I got a good restart. It's held me so damn tight. That one car, whoever's in front of him, is buried me down there so tight I just can't finish the pass.
I think what they have, the package they have in this car is just not very adjustable. It's going to be hard to fix it. They've tried everything.
There's about a lap with the finger on the radio button. Well, after the win at New Hampshire, the second place run at Martinsville, the two of the flatter tracks in this chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Matt Kenseth struggling today in Phoenix, but a lot of racing left, a lot of strategy still to be played, and a chance to try and turn it around. Joey Logano leads.
Welcome back to coverage of the Advocare 500 at Phoenix International Raceway. Fans, be sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Time now for the Dodge Durango race rundown, and it has been an incredibly challenging race for the championship contenders right from the get-go. Jimmy Johnson getting a little bit loose on the initial start, Rusty.
Yeah, right going in turn one, he just couldn't get the position he needed to. He got shuffled up. You see him getting beat around like a pinball right there. He fell back to about 6th, but finally righted it. But here later on in the race, Carl Edwards gets into him accidentally. Jimmy does a fantastic job of driving the car, holds on to it.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Could have been a championship save there, I would think, but you know what? As close a call as those were for Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth has not been able to dodge any bullets. He's had a ill-handling race car most of the afternoon, Ray, and, well, had some problems on pit road as well.
Yeah, they've had an ill-handling car in traffic, tried to adjust it, but not been able to get it out mechanically. Then something that is so out of character for this team, a huge mistake on pit road. The car continues to the back, and you can't help but wonder if it's the miscommunication based on a little distraction from yesterday.
And for the time being, the 20 car running 24th on the grid right now, still struggling mightily. This has to be a devastating blow for that team.
It really is a devastating blow. And it makes me circle back to yesterday. Did he have a big distraction trying to run that nationwide race? My opinion is he needed to be 100% focused on this car. The Cup car for today's race, he was trying to split everything around while his competition, Jimmy Johnson, is back at his motor coach, focused, geared up. This 20 car looks worse today, and I've seen it look a long, long time. I hope to gosh he does not try to run that nationwide car next week again.
Yeah, and we'll go back to our countdown show and talk about pit road and those mistakes that are there. becomes so huge as we go throughout the day. And that mistake they made on pit road, they had Jimmy Johnson. He had just gotten away from being in a huge accident with Carl Edwards. Jimmy Johnson lost a lot of track position. They turned right around the 20 car and give it all right back to him.
And this leapfrog pitch strategy has got us going all day long. You're looking at Joey Logano gets himself out front now. Guys are rotating around front to back right now. They're trying to get into the last pit window, which should be around lap 240, 250 to go to the end.
Meanwhile, outside the championship race, there is quite a race for the win here today. 9 leaders already, Alan, and it looks like things are tightening up.
Well, like Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson trying to run down Joey Logano, who's been out on the racetrack since lap 132. We're at 221 now and is staring a trip to pit road in the face in the near future.
Alan, I'm going to weigh in just a second on what they were talking about with Matt Kenseth. I had this discussion with Matt Kenseth just yesterday about the nationwide deal. He said again, and told me again this morning, the only distraction for him is on Fridays. And they were trying to make it not a distraction. Their car ended up not being so good on the Nationwide Series. He did have to run the second one. But he said that's the only time. He said it doesn't bother him to run the race. He feels like he tries to learn something from that. And his full intention is to run the nationwide race next Saturday, regardless of what the point situation is. So that's just coming from Matt Kenseth himself.
So Matt running in 25th place now. Jimmy Johnson third, while Casey Kane presses Joey Logano for the race lead.
They can't think it's going to be too many more laps before the 22 makes a pit stop. 91 laps since they last pitted. I know we've had a lot of caution laps. That's going to help him some, but won't be long. He'll be in.
He's going to have things to roll out from this point on to give himself an opportunity to be in a position to win here at the end.
Now, problem for Joey Logano is that if he doesn't see that caution flag soon, then making that pit stop under the green flag, that would not be good.
Well, he's just going to have to hope that the whole race then goes green.
Yeah. Jimmy Johnson closing in on Logano for that second spot. Knocked up out of the groove a couple of times, including on the very first lap of the race. Saved the car both times. Shuffled by strategy. Deep into the pack. Now shuffled by both strategy and the fact that he's passed a few cars also in this last run of the race. Back up now to maybe second spot.
Watch this move.
Yikes. Obviously had to jump on the brakes heavily there to that bad angle into 3. The other part you worry about running down on that apron like that is picking up some trash on those hot tires.
Yeah, he was well down on the apron, below where people have been running. Some of the guys have been using that apron, but not that far down.
And as many bumps, bangs, and spins as we've seen. People limping back to pit road on the apron, never know what you might find. Enter online at ChevyOutdoors.com for a chance to win an all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado.
I talk about Jimmy. He made spectacular saves. Great job of driving, being patient throughout the day. But, you know, sometimes you have to be pretty fortunate. Well, I even call it lucky. And I think that they might be lucky enough that this is all going to work out for them, that they ended up in that position, had to make that stop, get 4 tires on it. May propel them to a victory or certainly a top 3 finish today.
Well, the strategy's been set now for Joey Logano's team. And Dave, now they need this thing to run green for a while.
And they were comfortable doing it because they saw their teammate in the Nationwide Series, Sam Hornish, do so well staying out, and he didn't like his car very much. So they're trying that today, right side tires only, but getting it packed full of fuel because with 84 laps to go, that's about on the outer limit of what anybody told me on pit road today.
I'm having a little trouble with that right rear, but it didn't hurt them because they were only getting right side tires and trying to get it full of fuel.
But going to cost him a lap and put him behind. Will he get the brakes he needs to get back in the hunt? How's this thing going to play out for Kane, Johnson, Kenseth, and everybody else? 77 laps to go in Phoenix in the second to last race in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Time for unlimited access to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with NASCAR Mobile 13 and unlimited talk, text, and data on the Sprint network. 9 drivers trading the lead 15 times in this one. Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick pretty much neck and neck for most laps led. Casey Kane the leader right now. Get unlimited access to the NASCAR Mobile 13 app with the unlimited My Way plan, guaranteed for life and only from Sprint. See sprint.com/speed for details. Saw Mark Martin pit under the green flag during NASCAR Nonstop. So in this 3 different pit stop schedule situation we got going on, about to be 4 different pit stop schedule situation. Casey Kane last in at 164. Same for Jimmy Johnson. Then you get back to Kevin Harvick, who's in 6th place, who was last in at 192, along with a variety of people. And then you get a few that were in at 236.
Yeah, the next one due in would be really the 2-car Brad Keselowski. He's been out there all about 90 laps now.
Brad last pitting at 147, and we're at 237 now. And there's Brad right there. Headed to the attention of his team all the way down the far end of the Phoenix Raceway pit lane. Vince?
He took left side tires on the last stop. That was at lap 147. And the main complaint throughout the day has just been needing more stability. Said the entry's not good. He's tight middle, loose off. See the right side tire changes there. Sunoco fuel, chassis adjustment for Brad. They felt like they had a car capable of winning when this day started, but they've got work to do.
So Keselowski good to go to the finish on fuel. But he and Logano a lap down to Casey Kane, pending the shuffling of the strategy schedule here and what caution flags we might see.
If the caution doesn't come out, it should be about 10 more laps before we see the 5, 48, 99, 24, 29 make their green flag pit stop.
And because these tires aren't falling off that much, the speeds aren't falling off, then they don't have to worry about giving up a lot of time staying out.
Exactly. I just looked at, actually, Kevin Harvick last pitted at 192, so he has quite a few laps before he'll make his green flag pit stop.
8 and 7 cautions in each of the 4 races at Phoenix since the reconfiguration of this track before the November of 11 race. We've had 7 cautions today. That say we're due for 1 more. And by the way, the last 2 races here, better plan for some extra time in your strategy, because the last 2 races have gone extra distance and had green, white checker finishes.
Yeah, and that 25, 28 laps that Harvick has on those guys, that could be really big.
Good.
Yeah. Allow him to stay out there. He could put a lot of people a lap down if he's still out there and the caution should happen to come out.
Yeah, because that's a big window for that caution to fly. After the other guys make their stops here in about 10 laps.
Matt Kenseth on the pit lane. 70 laps to go, Doc.
Yeah, reminding him not to speed, but doesn't mean that to happen today with everything else that's going on. Right side tires, chassis adjustment. You know all the problems Matt's had all day long, tight middle. But Matt said mostly it is loose off. So left side, left rear chassis adjustment, 4 tires. Final scheduled stop of the day. Another round and a half. Wedge track. But Matt is down and away.
Okay. Final scheduled stop for Mark Truex Jr. He was last on pit road on lap 164 where he took laps. He will take 4 this time. They were very concerned about getting it packed full of fuel even at this point. So Ken Johnson making the call. We're going to take 4.
Top 4. Kane, Johnson, Edwards, Jeff Gordon. All should be hitting the pit lane in the near future. Then you get back to Kevin Harvick, like we were discussing a few minutes ago. And this little stretch here, a real danger zone for Kenseth if the caution should come out before Jimmy Johnson were to pit. Jeff Gordon in from 4th. Jamie?
Didn't like the last right side tires that they got right now saying the car's a little bit tight in the center, loose in and loose off. So a little bit of everything happening for the 24. They'll work on the right side here. You see the tear off there to help his vision as the sun begins to set. It's getting harder for these guys to see, and it will be a 4-tire stop once again. Meanwhile, the leader, the 5 of Casey Kane, he has taken right sides only 3 times today, and that will be the call once again. He is one of the quietest drivers on the radio as far as leading this race, hasn't said a word about his car. The tear off there, they'll work on the right sides, try to save as much time as possible. Everybody looks around, wait on fuel. They told me they feel like those left side tires are slower, Alan, so they opted once again for rights.
Jimmy Johnson, bonus point for leading that last lap after Casey Kane pitted. Now Jimmy on the pit lane.
4 tires, 4.
And the call there from Chad Knaus. All the way down to that first box at pit exit he earned for winning the pole. Vince?
Well, they took 4 on the previous stop as well, not taking any chances with this 48. Jimmy says the car's pretty good, a little snug in 1 and a little free into 3. They made a slight chassis adjustment, 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and clean it away for the 48. Doc?
Carl Edwards, right side tires only, air pressure down on both right front and right rear, topped it off with Sunoco fuel. He's away.
So now here's where it gets interesting, or the plot thickens, because Kevin Harvick is your race leader, and Kevin has a pad, as we talked about before, of a little while before he has to stop.
Yeah, just running some numbers here. Looks like he can go to possibly to lap 372, 375. I'm sorry.
Check that again.
I'm sorry, 275.
Thank you. There's only 312 laps in the race.
Sorry about that.
I hate it when you carry too many ones.
Carry too many. Usually I forget to carry them.
And Matt Kenseth right behind Kevin is 2 laps down in 30th place as they run. Harvick the leader. When will he make his pit stop? When will the cautions come out? There's a lot still to be decided in Phoenix. Kevin Harvick, the race leader here at Phoenix International Raceway. 57 laps to go in this one. What a day it's been for Jimmy Johnson, working on expanding the lead in the 6-pack championship bid. Remember last year, came in here leading, hit the wall, wound up losing the championship to Brad Keselowski. Well, on lap 1 and then again later mid-race, Johnson got tagged in traffic, had to make beautiful saves in this one. It's okay, Chad. And right now, Jimmy is running in 18th place while Matt Kenseth runs in 30th, standing to gain a chunk of ground in the championship going to the finale next weekend down at Homestead Miami Speedway. Now those numbers very deceiving at the moment because Kevin Harvick still has another pit stop to make in this race.
Just shows how things can change and have changed throughout this entire day.
Yep. So Kevin Harvick leading a group of, 15 drivers that last pitted at lap 192. Looking at some of them coming through here. One of the keys to that last round of pit stops, depending on where the caution might come out, is the fact that off of his pit stop that he just made, his last one of the race, Carl Edwards is just ahead of Kevin Harvick on the racetrack. And while Jimmy Johnson and Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski and Jeff Gordon are all a lap down, Carl Edwards is in front of Kevin Harvick, and if the caution comes out, could stay on the racetrack and have the race lead.
Yeah, he could turn this into a real positive for him if he can stay on the lead lap, which he will. Looking at the lap times, he's one of the quickest cars. It's not the quickest car on the lead lap.
So Carl, the winner of the March 3rd race here, the second race of this season, maybe in an advantageous position for the second to last race of the season, maybe. This guy's been tough all day. Harvick has, as Jimmy Johnson waves hello.
Boy, they've just done everything they can to this 20 car, Matt Kenseth, or seems that way anyway. It's been one of those unfortunate days that you hope wasn't going to happen, especially at this point in time in the chase.
Clint Boyer's in, Dave.
He was running fourth, Alan. They will take rights. They took rights last time. He got a track bar adjustment. This time, the car was tight. He was a little more turned in the center of the corners.
If the race were to stay green from now till the finish, Harvick will have to stay on pit road for a shorter time than some of those guys that stopped earlier that we saw waiting on fuel.
Yeah, the guys that pitted a few laps ago, they had to take basically 2 full cans of fuel to make it to the end. Like I say, Harvick won't have to have that much by the time he makes his pit stop, so it will be a shorter time on pit road.
Yeah, when Casey Kane had pitted from the lead with Harvick back there, he was about right at 7 seconds behind him, so that's going to cut into that lead quite a bit. Plus, he's got a pretty fast race car.
Yeah. Denny Hamlin just in front of Kevin Harvick in that 11. Remember, Denny led the opening 18 laps of this race, but then spun out after sliding back into traffic with a very ill-handling car. Denny hanging on to the lead lap here in 14th place, but still needing to make that last pit stop, which is going to happen right now.
Yeah, for Harvick, he won't need but 1 can of fuel basically to make it to the finish. They won't even have to make the swap, so he can get right sides and get out really quick. He can save quite a bit of time.
Yeah, you can see Casey Kane right behind Kevin Harvick, not too far behind him there. He would love to get up there and get himself unlapped here. That way he wouldn't have to, he could be on the strategy of not having to take the free pass or away run or anything like that.
Which is important of where you'd restart, where caution to come out. Yeah.
But here's the problem. Kevin Harvick is running faster laps than Casey. Even with Casey having fresh tires, that's just like we talked about. These tires are not worth a lot. They hold their speed really well.
Well, 47 laps to see how this one turns out. Take a moment for unlimited access to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with NASCAR Mobile 13 and unlimited talk, text, and data on the Sprint Network. Kevin Harvick's led the most laps today. 65. Jeff Gordon's led 49, the second highest total. Unlimited access to the NASCAR Mobile 13 app is yours with the unlimited MyWay plan. Guaranteed for life and only from Sprint. See sprint.com/speed for details. Denny Hamlin speeding on pit road. Pass-through penalty coming up. It continues.
Yeah, I'm saying it once again. 2013 can't get finished fast enough for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Harvick can run about 7 or 8, maybe 9 more laps before he has to make this last stop.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, DJ.
Yeah, I was just looking at a whole group of them that are probably reporting some debris or something out there that would love to see a caution flag.
What's that? 29 out of gas? Kevin Harvick out of gas, leading the race. So much for 7 or 8 more laps.
Yeah, evidently they forgot to carry the 1, too.
Yeah. And all that time he had an advantage for needing to take less fuel. Went out the window with all the time he lost getting to pit road there.
Yeah, and if his car's not running there, it's going to be hard to manage your pit road.
Here we go, 5 away. 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 tires.
They had told Kevin lap 268, so they weren't stretching it to get to that point. So a little bit surprised that, as you indicated, he'd run out of gas coming down for his final pit stop of the day.
Yeah, they're lucky. They got fired up real quick and they got out of there. The time that they lost would just be what they lost getting to their pit stop.
Dale Jr., the race leader now in the 88 car, yet to make his final pit stop. That's Jeff Gordon going by Jr. to get back on the lead lap. Gordon in 15th place. Jr., Kyle Busch, well, everybody you're seeing come across the top of your screen, back to Carl Edwards. All those cars yet to make that final pit stop. Kyle Busch in, Kurt Busch in. Doc?
1 round down, track bar loose off, going to be right side tires. Said don't wait on fuel. 8.5 seconds, Kurt Busch away.
Little brother Kyle Busch in right there, trying to make that chassis adjustment. Struggled a bit. Right side tires only. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, the 88 of Dale Jr. in. As you noted, he stayed out and led those couple of laps. tight on throttle is the complaint from Junior. What a day it's been for him. This team had no give up in them. They kept their head in the game. They fought back from a loose wheel after the first stop. You see the wrench in the rear window there. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. Right side tires only for Dale Jr. 7.1. Nice job for 2 tires.
Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle, Juan Pablo Montoya, Marcos Ambrose yet to pit to fill out this round of pit stops. There is Newman, the race leader. How's it going to turn out today? Wow, yeah, another interesting turn of events there with Ryan Newman running out of fuel leading, coming to pit road. The cycle of stops complete, and now with 34 laps to go, Carl Edwards has a 4-second lead on Casey Kane. Everybody made their final pit stops. The race stayed green through the whole cycle of things. And there's where Kane is behind Carl. When Casey pitted from the lead at lap 2:46, Carl was in third, 3.3 seconds behind him. Remember, Casey's team waiting on the fuel, and that the difference in the swing.
They waited a long time, and Carl's team did a good job of their pit stop, and also Carl did a good job probably getting on and off of pit road.
As long as they got enough fuel in, Carl Edwards, he's in good shape right now.
And while we're seeing Jimmy Johnson, look at this number top of the screen. Matt Kenseth is running back in 25th place. Jimmy Johnson is running in third. Talked about what a critical day this would be, the pressures, how stressful the second to last race of this championship is. And while Jimmy Johnson has had his stressful moments on the day, the story of this one for Matt Kenseth has just been one that will leave them extremely frustrated and upset, I would imagine, at the end of the afternoon.
Yeah, the only thing that can help them now is to get a caution, maybe take a wave around, get back on the lead lap, and they'll have to have a couple of breaks with maybe another caution or two to get anywhere near back into this. They're not in a position for the free pass right now.
They're really not even close to that.
Trouble, caution, debris, turn 3. All right, scratch all that and change everything.
Not sure what that is.
There was some stuff dangling off the right rear of Danica's car.
Yep.
Earlier, and that might have come from there. That car damaged in a 4-car jam up in turn 4 back at lap 144.
Maybe that's where it came from.
Yep. Nice job, gang.
I don't see any of these guys up front pitting for sure.
No, I don't. I don't see any of those guys making a pit stop.
So Kenseth, no chance for a wave around.
Yep. So that goes out the window. What he needs to do right now is make a pit stop, try to get his car fast enough where he can pass everybody that is one down and maybe get the free pass.
Yeah, he's only got about 4 behind him right now that are a lap down with him, and I agree with you. Try to do something. Make as many spots as you can.
And 5 ahead of him that are a lap down.
Yep.
So lead lap cars will be first in once the pit road is opened. And of course, NASCAR always retaining the option to call what they call a quickie caution, which means the lap down cars can pit along with the lead lap cars. Eric Almirola free pass under this caution. Overcast day here in Phoenix after a beautifully sunny weekend. The sun shining at the start of the race. After an overcast morning, the clouds have come back in. You see the lights are on at the racetrack. And we're down to the waning laps of this one. And another twisted plot just unfolding here with this 8th caution of the race. Pit road open here. Takers?
Stand by here. We'll come down, put you 4 on and work on it.
Well, we know what Kenseth's team will do. First lead lap car to come in, Brad Keselowski in 6th place. And he's going to pull about 8 of them behind him that are on the lead lap in. Leader Carl Edwards stays out. You can follow the pit stops and the cleanup from the caution as we go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Coca-Cola. A day that could have been a disaster for the 5-time champ Jimmie Johnson instead looks to be shaping up to be a huge day toward his bid for the 6th championship. A bump on lap 1, a bump mid-race. And Jimmie made great saves both times. Now he's rallied back to be running in 3rd place, while his title rival Matt Kenseth is struggling a lap down in 29th position. Coming to a restart with 25 laps to go. Carl Edwards and Kasey Kahne side by side in front of Jimmie Johnson. Did it again. Got away with it. Keep waiting. Oh, Greg Biffle. A little wide. Going to give up a couple spots there. Carl Edwards got away from Kasey Kahne on the restart. Kevin Harvick ahead of Jimmie Johnson now. Harvick 3rd, Johnson 4th, Earnhardt Jr. 5th.
You see Jeff Gordon slipping back there. He actually kind of gave Jimmie Johnson a break there getting down into turn 1 on that restart. Jimmie didn't get off to a great start, but the momentum then that Jeff lost has really cost him. Can't get his car back down to the bottom here.
Oops, Clint Boyer wide. Kept it off the wall. Reed Sorensen and Josh Wise have just taken their cars to the garage and retired them from the race.
That 9 car right there of Ambrose is the first car 1 lap down. You can see Matt Kenseth trying to chase him down. Actually, it's now Gilliland.
Yep.
The 38 in front of the 9 is the first car lap down.
There's something going on for Clint Boyer because he's really having a hard time with that 15 car.
You know, I saw them put left side tires on when they came in right there, and I just have not seen that work with this left side tire, just changing the lefts for anybody.
Hey, mentioned Bobby Labonte, final race in this 47 car today. Future plans uncertain at this point. The former champ carrying the Wounded Warrior Project on the hood. And certainly Bobby, one of the good ones.
Yeah, it really has meant a lot to this sport, and don't know what he's going to do from this point forward, but certainly a true champion.
So Carl Edwards stretching out a 0.6 of a second lead on Kasey Kahne and running the fastest lap of all of the leaders that last time by. Kahne beginning to feel some heat from Kevin Harvick for the runner-up spot. Our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Everything we learn making tires that face the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR.
Great corner right there for Kevin Harvick.
And that should concern Carl Edwards.
That should, yes. Yeah, I wasn't sure how much time it was going to take him to get by the 5 of Kahne and then not allow him to have enough time to get to Carl Edwards, even if he can. Carl's running some great laps here himself.
Yeah, but you see that 29, how it just hooked the bottom. I mean, all the way down the apron through 3 and 4.
Got about a second to make up to try and catch and challenge Carl Edwards for the win. 99 out front, Doc.
Yeah, Carl Edwards pulling away, or was a little bit ago, but here's the issue with the 99 car. When he pitted on 248, they took right side tires and did not wait on fuel. And so by calculations, you're in the yellow a moment ago. Jimmy Finney said to his driver, you've got to save gas. We're not going to pit, but you got to save gas. We're at least a lap and a half short. And they said, And so that's all he would say. Carl said, I'm saving all I can save. And, of course, then the green came back out, and he pulled away from Kane, and now he's trying to hold off Harvick. But interesting. He thinks they may be close, but they should be right on the number. But green, white, checkered, no, they won't make it.
And there's the rub. Last two races here at Phoenix have gone extra distance.
Yeah, we've also seen a few other teams run out of fuel before they thought they were going to.
Yeah.
That last green flag run.
Yeah, one of the reasons, too, is that lap times are staying really fast. This tire doesn't lose any grip. They're still using a lot of fuel. They're running some of the fastest laps of their run all the way to the end. So they're using more fuel, I think, than they had counted on.
3:16 and 3:19, and the scheduled distance 3:12.
Well, Harvick can't count on him running out of fuel. He's got to try to run him down here. He's a little bit quicker.
Yeah. The last few laps, he has gained a little bit of time on him. Carl Edwards, you're thinking is, okay, do I save fuel and let him get close to me, or do I run as hard as I can, get a big enough lead that maybe it runs out off of turn 4 and I can coast there?
It'd be hard to save a lot of fuel these last 15 or so laps. I think if I was Carl, I'd just run as hard as I could.
Yep.
That's what we know from Carl.
Especially knowing that this 29's been the fastest car all day and is eating into his lead right now. Harvick in second, trying to close, Vince.
And it's not a surprise that Harvick's having a good run today. Gil Martin told me before the race, he said, we're really optimistic. They came with the same package that they won with here in this race a year ago. And even though they finished 13th in March, they had what they thought was a top 2 or 3 car, and they broke the left front rotor. So he said, we were much better than our finishing position indicated. They expected to contend for the win today, and they are doing just that. A strong run for the 29, a team that has already won once in the chase.
How about that? The guys in first and second. The two guys that have won on both the new and old Phoenix layouts. Isn't that something? And the top 3 in this race are 3 of the 4 drivers that have won on the new Phoenix configuration.
So not surprising they're there.
Yeah.
Just look at these lap times. These top 2 are just about mirroring each other. Within 1/1000th of a second last lap. Harvick actually lost a little bit on that one.
You can look at both of these drivers and their teams and put their hopes for the championship down to just a moment or 2 in this chase, right? For Carl Edwards, the broken drive line there at Dover caused him to finish in 35th place, dropped him about 30 points deeper back than he was starting that race, and just hasn't had a chance to recover from there. And then, of course, the tough break at Texas last week with a 37th place finish kind of finished it off.
Yeah, one bad finish is enough, especially when you've got Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson with the average finishes they have.
And for Kevin Harvick, of course, had the big win in the race out in Kansas. Put him into the conversation, 3rd in the championship. Is Kevin have it? Is he going to get a chance at it? But they don't even have it. They don't have a top 5 finish since then. And the way that Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth have been running, finishing 6th to 12th, this isn't going to get it done.
No, it's not. But one thing he has done here is he keep his name in the hunt going to Homestead next year or next week. If something crazy should happen there, he's going to be within the total points that you would need to be to have a shot.
Got to be inside of 48 to have a shot, but
that's all it is.
He's going to be way back at the backside of that shot, for sure. Right now, if things run out as they finish, Kevin will be the only other driver besides Johnson or Kenseth that has a chance at the championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. And for all the lame duck conversation, I know we've run through that storyline before, but finishing the season with pride and with strength and
yeah, I think you got to hand it to not only Kevin Harvick, but the team for how they've rallied behind Kevin and stayed right with him, giving him a shot at a championship. And I know that he really wants one.
Yeah, certainly things have been a little bit stressful in that type situation. You know that going in. There's been talk of sponsors and maybe RCR not happy with the way things are going there with some sponsors and things, and then some things that have been said, but they've managed to keep it together and have some really good runs.
Yep. So Kevin going to go to Homestead, Miami. It looks like third in points. This day could be the day that tells the entire story of this championship for Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah, could have got out of control right from the very start with the first lap. Got himself in a position with not a very good start of the race. Got tagged down in turn 3, saved the car there. It could have been a disaster, but in their championship form, they've made the very most of it once again.
Talked on the piece during NASCAR Countdown, the psychology of sports and so on. Chad Knaus talking about how the sports psychologist Bob Rotella has helped him become a better coach and a better leader, and helped Jimmy and how they work together as driver and team. And they never cease to amaze and impress at the level of excellence. It's hard to stay on top in any sport. And even the championships they haven't won in recent years, they've been right there. They've been contenders for them right down to the end. It's really impressive.
I know Chad credits that, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I had Jimmie Johnson, tremendous talent, but he makes everybody else around him better also. He is, we talk about his physical strength. Mentally, he's as strong as anyone, and he helps everyone around him be better and give their very best, and that's what makes them championship caliber every single year.
Like Carl's out of gas.
Maybe out of gas.
Slowing down.
There's something slowed him up quite a bit there. I don't know if he's out of gas. Looks like he is.
That's it. Here comes Harvick to the white flag.
Looking outside, white flag, one more time.
Lead change on the last lap. Carl Edwards coasting in turn 1. Now it's Kevin Harvick. Half a lap from victory lane.
Hey, miracles happen every day, bro.
Checkered flag, victory at Phoenix. Kevin Harvick, his second win of the chase.
Yeah. Great job, man. Great job, everybody.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's a tough one. He knew they were going to be just a little bit short, hoping that caution gave him a little cushion, but it wasn't enough. That's too bad. Can't
Poor man, thank you,
Richard.
Richard. Still in this thing.
Going down the backstretch, coming to the white flag. It hiccuped for Carl Edwards.
The one here in March, looked like they had this one in the bag if it had enough fuel. Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, and maybe just another second of fuel would have gotten it, and they didn't. I think they didn't realize just how big a lead they were going to have when they came out after making that green flag stop. But that's the chances you take in trying to make things happen.
21st for Carl Edwards.
As a driver, you like to think, there are days that Kevin Harvick and them will look back and know that races that were lost or what they felt like got away from them. You like to think they even out some days, and here's one of those days whenever it kind of pays you back and makes you believe that.
They had a great car today, too. They had a winning race car.
Sure did.
Yeah. This is a case where the fastest car wasn't going to win the race.
But it did.
It did.
Yeah. Sometimes it works out.
Win with a last lap pass for the closer, Kevin Harvick. Carl Edwards' fuel tank running dry made this one happen. At lap 268, Kevin Harvick ran out of fuel leading the race. Thought that might have been the difference that cost him the win. Instead, Carl Edwards runs out coming to the white flag, and Kevin Harvick's in victory lane.
A big swig of the sponsor and a victory lane celebration for Kevin Harvick. Second win in the chase. You run out of gas. You run out of fuel on your last stop, and maybe at that point it didn't look very good. But what goes through your mind when you see Carl running out in front of you at the end?
Yeah, you know, I really wasn't expecting that, but just got to thank all these guys on our Budweiser Chevrolet. Thank Jimmy John's Chevrolet, Bad Boy Buggies, Hunt Brothers Freightliner, all these Odyssey batteries, all the people who help us, and the race fans and Sprint for putting us on this racetrack. So we had a really, really fast car all day. We were able to make our ground through traffic. And, you know, we just we were on the opposite side of the strategy that worked out. So you just never know how the cautions work out. So it was a great day, and just got to thank Richard and everybody at RCR for all they've done for me, and wanted to go.
It might be a long shot, but you've still got a shot next week at Homestead.
Yeah, and that's all you can ask for is just to be in it. Obviously, you know, there'd have to be a lot to happen. But, you know, anything can happen, and you got to be in it to win it. And we've done a good job in winning races in the chase, and see what happens.
His 4th win of the season. Kevin Harvick does it at Phoenix.
Keelan looked like all that commotion going on around him might have had him a little unsettled.
Yeah, it took him up a little bit, but now he's happy he's got Daddy.
Well, Kevin Harvick, the winner today, and the other real big winner on the day was Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy starting on pole, but on the very first lap got knocked around a bit in turn 3. And his whole race could have gone away right here.
Yeah, very easily could have. Joey Logano gets a little bit loose into the left rear quarter. Jimmy able to save it, though.
Yeah, and as close as that one was, he had another one later in the race that was a real big save right here. Carl Edwards gets in the left rear, and he goes for a ride. I'll tell you, that was a great save by Jimmy Johnson.
Just past the midway point of the race for that one. Jimmy recovers to finish 3rd. He's our Goodyear Superior Performer today. Look at those hands. That's performing behind the wheel. And a big championship lead heading to the finale for Jimmy Johnson. Jamie.
After that moment with the 99, you got shuffled back to 26. Jimmy, you were tested today. How were you able to stay calm, not give up, and fight back to finish 3rd today?
Well, I knew I had a great race car, and that makes life a lot easier. And I've really got to fall back on my dirt driving skills, racing in the desert out here all the years that I did, and both of those instances were close. You know, the second one in turn 1, I thought it was hitting the walls. So glad that we got it gathered up and got back going. And then you know, the 20 wasn't having the best days, so after that issue, we came to pit road and left, and I expected him to be well ahead of me, and he was behind me. So at that point, I knew I was in good shape relative to the championship battle. I knew I had a good car and I could get through traffic, and it was just about trying to get points on him at that point.
And you did so today. Jimmy Johnson goes into the final race with 28 points over the guy who's standing by with Dave.
That is Matt Kenseth, and a couple of smiles down here just because Matt is trying to keep it light, just like Jason Ratcliffe did when there was a bad pit stop in the middle of the race. Matt, it was a confusing day. Describe how you're feeling right now, 28 points behind going into Homestead.
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I'm disappointed, obviously. I mean, the way our season's gone and kind of being in the championship hunt, you know, we hope to kind of go down to Homestead and race for it on performance. So, you know, but on the other hand, I'm extremely happy. I'm really, really proud of my team. There's not a car out here I'd rather be driving, and it's a special group of guys. We've had just an amazing, incredible season, and we still got 1 week left. So, really thankful for putting me in a car, and for all our partners, Dollar General and Home Depot, and everybody to give me this opportunity. So, man, it's been a great season. We still got a week to go. Hopefully, go to Homestead and go down there and contend for a win.
All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Unofficially 23rd today, Matt Kenseth.
And it'll be 23rd or better for Jimmy Johnson if Matt Kenseth gets max points, leads the most laps and wins next Sunday down in South Florida. Jimmy's got to be 23rd or better to claim that 6-pack of championship rings. Next Sunday, South Florida. Join us at the racetrack. The weather's going to be great. Carl Edwards leading the race, coming to the white flag when he ran out of gas. Doc?
Talk about disappointment. Carl Edwards, I heard Jimmy Finnig tell you during the yellow, save fuel, save fuel, save fuel. Then I heard him say, watch your gauges. Did you know it was that close?
I didn't know it was that close. I think if I would have saved, I tried to save a couple of laps, and the 29, he was catching me. And I don't know if I could have saved 2 laps in hindsight, but man, we did not think we were going to run out of fuel. We had an awesome race car. Jimmy's strategy was perfect. We just needed a little bit more fuel. These Fords get such good fuel mileage. That's the first time I've run out in a long time. So we just want to get that win for fast and all. This place has been so good to us, and the guys have built such great cars. After last week's disappointment, we needed that win, but just a heck of a race. Man, I wish I had to do over again. I'd like to try to save some fuel and try to keep them behind me, but it's done now.
1 lap short, and Carl Edwards finishes 21st.
Well, a twisted plot at the finish of this one, and the day-long struggles of Matt Kenseth wound up with the championship picture after 9 races in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup, looking like that.
Yeah, certainly we expected it to be a lot closer, but as we've seen, Andy, I'm going to steal a line of yours. We saw Matt Kenseth have a hard time running 23rd today, so it's not like it's easy to do.
Yeah, that's right. Jimmy only has to finish 23rd next week, but sometimes it can be harder than you think, and Matt Kenseth found it that way today.
So after looking like running out of fuel coming to his last pit stop cost Kevin Harvick a chance for the win, fate and fortune had other ideas as the guy he was chasing for the lead ran out of fuel coming, more importantly, to the checkered flag. And Kevin winds up in victory lane, scoring the 200th NASCAR win, according to the banner, for Richard Childress Racing, as RC celebrates in the winner's circle with his team. And next weekend, it's on to the Ford Championship weekend to crown the champs in the Nationwide and Sprint Cup Series. Saturday, the Ford EcoBoost 300 at 4 Eastern on ESPN. And Sunday, round 10 in the chase, the Ford EcoBoost 400 at 1 Eastern on ESPN. SportsCenter is next, presented by Verizon. Carl Edwards left to push his car back to the garage area out of fuel, while Kevin Harvick celebrates in victory lane.